Hey everybody, this is Stephen with Junior Achievement of North Florida. We are doing a career speaker series today with Shaan Patel of Harborview. And so we're excited to get to a little bit know more about him and just what he does with Harborview and just kind of what all else is involved with his life. So Shaan, thank you so much for joining us. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Where are you from? Any fun personal facts that you'd like to share?
Sure. Hi, my name is Shaan Patel. I'm a rising senior at the University of Florida, and I'm originally from Jacksonville, Florida. And I guess a couple fun facts is that one of my favorite things to do is travel. So me and my family dedicate a couple weeks a year to traveling because that's just something that we feel is really important. It helps us get away from our everyday lives, and then also experiencing different cultures and different parts of the world has been something that I've always been interested in. So hopefully something that I get to carry through. And then another interesting fact, I guess, but not that interesting since I'm from Jacksonville, is that I'm a diehard Jaguar fan. So
Nice.
I will be attending as many games as I can this season. The season opener in Houston. So I'm flying out with a couple friends to go see that, and I'm really excited for it.
You are from Jacksonville, and so let's go back to when you were in high school. Did you kind of know what you wanted to do, or has college helped shape that? Also, what kind of led you to the University of Florida?
Yeah, so in high school, I had no idea that I would be even going into finance. I genuinely thought that I wanted to be a doctor. And that was partially due to my family's background in medicine. So that was kind of one big thing that was influencing early decisions, or what I thought were going to be my decisions when I got to college. And so, yeah, I really didn't know what I wanted to do going into college from high school, and especially just taking classes that, or in high school, I took a lot of classes that implied that I wanted to go into medicine.
Yeah.
So I was taking AP classes, AP Bio, AP Chem,
Okay.
things like that. But there's not really any classes that they offer in high school that specifically deal with finance, at least for the high school that I went to, or like the business world besides, economics. So yeah, it was kind of a weird transition. And then I guess when I like going to UF, my entire family went there. My brother,
Okay.
both my parents. I have a couple aunts and uncles as well. So we're a pretty big Gator family. And
That's awesome.
so actually deciding on finance was really weird because literally up until the day that I went to orientation, I was convinced that I wanted to do finance. And one of the like activities that we were doing during orientation was a meeting where the heads of the different departments speak to the new class that is coming in that year.
Yeah.
And the head of the business school, or the dean, I guess we would call it, came to speak, and I loved what he had to say, and how he had a different career path, or at least he started off, not as a business-minded person, and then kind of transitioned in. And I kind of resonated with that a little bit even earlier, even though I had no idea really what I was getting myself into with business at all. So without telling my parents or telling anyone, I declared my major as finance at orientation. I just felt like it was it was just like a gut feeling for me, and it's worked out really well. So that's been a really exciting journey so far.
That's awesome, and that's neat how you had kind of an idea of what you wanted to do, but then as you progressed through life and just as you kind of even were introduced to college, things were starting to form like, oh, maybe I have this like certain type of passion. And so that's what's so necessary as you continue on whatever journey you may be going through, whether it's college or without college, is understanding like, hey, what is that? What is my heart telling me? Like, what is really maybe my passion, and where it can kind of dictate your future. So can you tell me what year college are you in right now?
I'm going to be a senior in the fall.
Okay, cool. So you have experienced UF as per se normal, like your freshman and sophomore years, but then all of a sudden 2020 came and COVID transformed the entire world. So what has your experience in college been like before, and then also like post, but then now also kind of, or during, but then also kind of post COVID?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, COVID was definitely a stop in school, kind of.
Yeah.
They sent a lot of people home. They just figured it would be safer for a lot of people and their families if they were able to get out of like the college environment where, especially in Gainesville, it's such a small town. So there's a lot of contact with people. Even if you're just walking on the sidewalk, there's bound to be at least 100 other people walking on the same street as you.
Yeah.
Just because there are definitely main roads and things that bring contact between people. So I guess my freshman year, I started off and I obviously loved it. It was really new for me. It was fun. I was able to meet a bunch of people, going through different things like involvements in school. in the business school in specific, and then socially as well, like joining a fraternity was really helpful. And so different things like that definitely made college really exciting for the first year. And going into the second year, I was also just kind of carrying those things forward. And then at the beginning of my third year, or I guess it was at the end of sophomore year, I don't really remember the timeline, but
it's a blur.
I do remember, things just coming to like a really abrupt halt. And so it wasn't as much as, us not having fun anymore or doing anything. It's just that you had to be really careful, and school itself, shut everything down. Classes were all moved online, which is a really different dynamic because a lot of times, you meet people in class. So if you're sitting next to people and you're, I don't know, how did you do this assignment or something like that? That's just like sparking some sort of conversation, and that element was kind of taken away. And then, a lot of restaurant closures because they couldn't support the workers anymore. People weren't going, places, and it really affected Gainesville in specific because it's such a small place. So that the social aspect of college for a second was just completely taken away. But on the flip side, going to school in Florida was also really beneficial because we probably had the quickest bounce back of any state. So I would say, we weren't shelled out of it for too long, and my friends and I made the most of it while we were still in Gainesville. We tried to meet up with each other and have like small gatherings or something like that to not go completely stir crazy and be in the house all the time. So that was fun. And we would, go to parks and things like that and just like do stuff outside. Went on like a hiking trip. That was pretty cool.
That's great.
Anything to take our mind off of the crazy stuff that was going on while still trying to be safe was definitely helpful and kind of helped us all get through that.
Obviously, kind of what we were talking about and what everybody knows is that everything was completely changed. And so like where you were meeting with people like in class or interacting with your professor, classmates, like studying together, that's completely changed to online. So like a big part of like the professional work world is like adapting and innovating. So what is something that you learned kind of throughout this process? Like, why is it so important to adapt and kind of innovate?
So I would definitely say before, COVID hit or the pandemic really hit, I had a lot of structure in my schedule because I had class times and I had, set dates for a lot of things. But as my life like switched to online and I could pretty much do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted in terms of school, as long as I got in before the day, I kind of lost a lot of that. So I think that's why it's really helpful, especially now, because, I'm coming into work every day. And I've been able to like incorporate, like being able to work out during the day and like kind of, I have a really rigid schedule for that stuff. I think developing that schedule has definitely helped me just be, more productive during my days. And I think I lost a little bit of that during COVID, just because, I don't know, that you kind of are on your own time. There's not really anyone, there's no professor that's emailing you, telling you to turn this in because they said it on their online class, So I definitely think that was something that was a big change, like developing outside of COVID. Just as time moved forward, I think that I lost the structure to my schedule and then realized how much I needed it because it just wasn't being like as productive as I could have been. And now having it back and trying to pack as much as I can into a day and stay productive has definitely been one of the biggest developments.
Now you're interning with Harborview. Can you explain a little bit about what Harborview does, and then also what does this internship entail?
Sure. So Harborview is an investment bank, and essentially companies can come to us whether they want to exit their business. So if they want to be acquired by a larger company, whether that's a private equity firm, which is just a firm that buys companies or invests in companies, or a strategic firm, which is someone in their field or in their space. So it's like a huge bakery buying a smaller bakery type thing.
Got it.
Acquisition, just to make it in pretty layman's terms. And so our job is to advise the leadership teams on the smaller company, like which would be our client that wants to get acquired, and then kind of learn their business and learn everything they have to do and kind of sell it to the bigger firm. Because a lot of times the companies that we deal with are what we call like middle market or lower middle market firms. So there are a lot of mom and pop shops, and people, don't have it's not common knowledge to have financial knowledge beyond a corporate level where you can know how to sell your own business, right? So we kind of just make it we facilitate the transaction, and we try to make it, as friendly as possible. I think one of the big cultural differences between, Harborview and a lot of the huge investment banks that you hear about is that the clients become friends of the firm.
That's great.
There are a lot of long-lasting relationships that come from the outcomes that we have. So it's been great to know people and get to meet people that are trying to, expand their business or kind of, they built up this awesome thing, and they now want to sell it and kind of, retire, or whatever word you want to use. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit about what we do. And then I guess our job as interns is kind of just assist in any, so the hierarchy, I guess, would be, so we're summer interns, and then there's an analyst, which is like a fresh hire, new hire. They do that for about 2 years. And then an associate, who in their 3rd or 4th year, they get promoted to associate, and then a VP, and then a managing director. So kind of just going through that hierarchy. We are obviously at the lower part of that because we're interning for a summer, but we assist like analysts and associates in anything that they need to do. So a lot of research and trying to find, good clients and good buyers for those clients is one of the bigger parts of what we do. And then also just, trying to have or put together some sort of database where we can, pull insights from the industry that we're working in or something like that, so that we can, further break into a field that maybe we're not, super penetrated in right now, or
right.
Like that. So I definitely think that that's one of the bigger parts of our role. And then obviously, since we're such a small firm, getting to know the people here has been a really our internship as well. And I think they definitely stress, know the people you work with, because that's how you know if you'll want to work there.
Yeah.
And so we've definitely all taken advantage of coffee chats, is what we call them, just putting time on someone's calendar, really anyone in the firm, and trying to get to know them better. So yeah.
That's great. And so you're from Jacksonville. Had you heard about Harborview before? Like, how did you get in touch with them, and why did you choose to intern with them?
Yeah, so I actually knew a few people that interned here before I came here.
Okay.
So as I, went through the finance classes that I was taking, I was at UF, I kind of realized that investment banking was kind of where I wanted to be. So I reached out to a couple of my friends that were in banking, and then also kind of researched the firms that were in Jacksonville, just because I'm a huge Jacksonville person. So I was just, reaching out, trying to find out different things. And I found out that a couple of people that I went to high school with, and then a few other people that I knew had interned here, and they loved it. So me reaching out to them and kind of finding out what their experience was like, and how their experience in the field, changed their view, or kind of similar to like this question, just I wanted to see what they got out of it, and if I can see myself doing the same thing. So it was more of a vetting process between people that I met at UF that worked here, and just people that I've known for a while that ended up doing the internship as well.
And that's great. And that really pinpoints to about networking and using the people that you know, that you have friendship with, that you've known professionally, and how that can connect you to a potential job. I mean, that's a really great way to use. And even what you're doing now is like these coffee chats, and how you're getting able to expand your own network, obviously within the investment banking, but also possibly for another job that you may have in the future. So always a really worthwhile thing to learn, especially during college and beyond. So now is kind of like the final question is, how has this internship like kind of changed, or has it helped solidify like your perspective on the investment banking industry?
So kind of like I was saying, the classes that I was taking at UF definitely led me towards this space, along with a lot of people that I've met in my major. And yeah, it's definitely solidified what I expected. It is different, I will say, from what I initially thought I was going to be doing, and that's mostly because the people that I talked to about investment banking at first were all people that wanted to go work in New York. And it's a very structured internship, but they also have, a lot of analysts working on the same projects, and, redundant work, which it's good to have redundancy at some points, because at some point you have to make a reference to, a bunch of things to make sure that you're doing it right. But here, I think, they found a perfect balance between letting interns do stuff on their own, and then also if you need help or if you need any point of advice, you can ask literally anyone here. It's very horizontally oriented to where I'm not uncomfortable talking to a VP, and I'm not uncomfortable talking to the founding partners. And so I think a lot of why my thoughts on investment banking are so solidified now is definitely how comfortable I am here and with the firm.
It's great.
It's just a really cool place. So I definitely think that that's one of the things that changed, or not changed, but I guess bolstered my thinking. Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, Shaan, thank you so much for sharing just a little bit about your life and just how you progressed from high school into college and now interning with a really great investment bank called Harborview, located in Ponte. Is that correct?
Yep.
Awesome. So thanks so much for your time, and looking forward to hearing all that you do in the future. So we'll see you.
Awesome. Thanks. Nice meeting you.